Which of you would want to share with the row behind you any of the following: your credit card, your email password, your last prescription, or the stupidest thing you've ever said? Donald Sterling, please sit down. I think we already know what the last one is for you. I know I would want to share any of this stuff with people I don't know, but then why the heck are we doing it on platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and Gmail? Well, in exchange for instant free communication, we give a torrent of information so massive that strangers know who we are and what we like. What's identity? Well, I think it is what we choose to share and what we choose not to. How important is your identity to you, and what would you trade it for? Things used to be pretty simple. Back in 1963, the Beach Boys sang "In My Room" about a place where they could hide away their secrets, dreams, laughter, and tears. We got to know people slowly over time, one to one. During this period, the Supreme Court issued a bunch of rulings protecting us in our homes, our associations, and in our bodies. 50 years ago this month, the Berkeley free speech movement ignited a slew of student activism and litigation. Things were simpler then. We had heightened protection for we had heightened privacy at home, rather, and our free speech rights received heightened protection in public. Hey, those days are over with the advent of the internet. It's redrawn the distinction between public and private domains and the relationships that take place within them. What's the biggest threat to our identity today? Tech companies, the government, hackers, or ourselves? The depth, breadth, and speed of communication over the internet has now changed expression and privacy forever. So now we have to recalibrate our rights to expression and privacy in this new digital public square. This is a defining aspect of our age. Threats to our privacy and expression used to come from the government. Because of that, in 1791, we ratified the Bill of Rights. Privacy is protected under the Fourth Amendment, but privacy is actually nowhere to be found in the actual wording. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause. Expression is protected under the First Amendment. It prevents government interference with our free speech rights and associations. Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. The highest protections came in what we call public forums, parks, streets, sidewalks, even for offensive speech. Now, the government can regulate on the basis of time, place, and manner, but cannot on the basis of the content of the idea expressed. So as long as no one's disrupting traffic, there should not be any interference or censorship. In 1943, the Supreme Court delivered this very potent protection. If there is any fixed star in our constitutional constellation, it is that no official, high or petty, can prescribe what shall be orthodox in politics, nationalism, religion, or other matters of opinion, or force citizens to confess by word or act their faith therein. These protections remain vital today. If you want to know what it feels like to have your expressive identity at risk, look no further than Turkey, North Korea, and China, where severe internet restrictions are imposed. An American was imprisoned for 1 year in the United Arab Emirates for doing a parody video making fun of Dubai teens' love of hip-hop music. This group of Iranian fans did their version of the song Happy.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say,
what? These youths were charged and given at least 6 months and 91 lashes under a suspended sentence in Iran for that video. This is what happens when your expressive identity is not protected. Back in 1997, the United States Supreme Court gave First Amendment full protections to the internet, unlike radio, which can be regulated. They said any person can become a town crier with a voice that resonates farther than it could from any soapbox. Not only do we have speech protections in the digital arena, we have privacy protections there as well. Just this past June, the justices unanimously held that police cannot search cell phone information without an additional warrant, even if a suspect is arrested. The justices held that the Fourth Amendment rights to privacy outweigh the government's interest in getting that information, even after an arrest. Earlier, I spoke about how the internet is changing expression and privacy protections. We used to worry about the government, but now we have to be concerned with businesses as well. A while back, celebrities became commodities, products, if you will, by hawking goods and services on television and in print ads. They traded their notoriety for tons of advertising cash. Guess what? We're commodities too. Apple CEO Tim Cook had some recently veiled criticism directed at Google and Facebook. He said a few years ago, users of internet services began to realize that when an online service is free, you're not the customer, you're the product. What he means by this is access to our online expression, habits, emails, relationships, location, and searches are highly valuable to advertisers. This personal information is the product. These platforms take a close look at our online activities, and they charge advertisers a premium for sending us targeted ads based on perceived interests and characteristics that we may have or may not. Companies then tailor search, newsfeed, and advertising algorithms that are filtered to information and products that they think we'll like. In 2011, Facebook settled with the Federal Trade Commission, which said as follows: Facebook deceived customers by telling them they could keep their information on Facebook private, and then repeatedly allowing it to be shared and made public. More recently, the New York Times had a headline that said, Facebook tinkers with users' emotions in newsfeed experiments, stirring outcry. They apparently altered the emotional changes to folks of 700,000 subscribers by manipulating the news feeds. That's a little creepy. They also track sites that you look at even when you're signed off through the use of cookies. And they've also launched a new program where they can track you across multiple devices, a bit more intrusive. Hey, maybe Facebook COO, Chief Operating Officer, Sheryl Sandberg's next bestseller should be called Lean Out, The Will Not to Be Followed. We're suspicious enough of advertising. As Jerry Seinfeld ironically pointed out, while getting a Clio Award before an auditorium of advertising executives.
But we're happy in that moment between the commercial and the purchase, and I think spending your life trying to dupe innocent people out of hard-won earnings to buy useless, low-quality, misrepresented items and services is an excellent use of your energy.
It used to be simple to hide from ads. You could just get up from the couch or press mute on the TV remote. Now they follow us around, and it's kind of creepy. Hey, have you ever experienced anything like this? I grumbled a lot when I turned 50, and I got targeted ads for adult diapers and Viagra. At least those came with warning labels, unlike Facebook. But the gold medal goes to the parents of a teenage girl who found out she was pregnant when they got her ads hawking baby clothes and cribs. Al Pacino's character in the 1972 film classic The Godfather, Michael Corleone, explained the mob this way: "It ain't personal, Sonny. It's strictly business." The same can be said of Silicon Valley, where monetizing your personal information is, well, strictly business. It's also a place where a network of entrepreneurs revolutionized the digital communication age. Fortune even called a name for them: the PayPal Mafia. The PayPal Mafia is a band of tech innovators loosely tied to controversial PayPal billionaire Peter Thiel, who also happens to be a Stanford law school classmate of mine. He's instrumental to a whole grouping of people who were successful in creating a who's who of multi-billion-dollar companies that include Facebook, Tesla, YouTube, LinkedIn, Yelp, Square, Yammer, and others. But in today's digital age, big corporations do play an increasing role. Check this out. 67% of searches are on Google, and 74% of online adults use Facebook. Half of the 10 largest corporations in the United States are tech firms, and the two most valuable brands, Google and Apple, are as well. In fact, Google is worth more than the gross domestic annual product of Egypt, a country of 80+ million people. There is an oligarchy of search and networking firms, telecommunications, who operate closed ecosystems that have a huge proportion of the online population. Hey, as creepy as targeted ads are, I hate to tell you, it's our fault too. I'll give $1 to anyone who's actually read a terms of service about how their personal information is disseminated before they press the button. Even creepier, though, is when we don't press a button. An independent central intelligence agency, venture capital firm In-Q-Tel, gave millions of dollars to something called Palantir Corporation, named after the Seeing Stones in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. They have really impressive skills. They sift through tons of information, and they even located, allegedly, Osama bin Laden. They also have a program where they can go through hundreds of millions of license plates in 5 seconds to locate wanted people and you. What's even more creepy? The government's metadata surveillance. That pushes the creepy needle up a little more. And if you thought it didn't end there, what about hackers who in the most recent time have got the personal consumer information out of Dropbox, Snapchat, Target, Home Depot, Dairy Queen, and JP Morgan Chase? Soon, new immersive technology will know much more about us. Clothes will adjust to temperature conditions and size. Wearable sensors will also take a role in our lives. Cars will drive us. And we'll get gaming and news via 3D contact lenses and biosensors. I have a feeling I might regret some of this. Eric Schmidt had a blunt warning. He said, if you have something that you don't want anyone to know, maybe you shouldn't be doing it in the first place. Hey, it ain't personal, it's business. It's like the casino that keeps its door open for the compulsive gambler, or the bartender who serves an alcoholic one next drink. But guess what? We live in a culture of impulsive oversharing, where even our unborn children have Twitter accounts, and every other meal gets posted on Facebook. And we want it for free or darn close to it. And big business delivers. All you got to do is click that I agree box. Look, I love the experience. And I hope to work with some of these companies on civil liberties and education. But we have to have a balance here. Banana ice cream is one of my favorites, but I don't want it all the time and not with the whole neighborhood in my kitchen. So we can't blame corporations alone. We also are not the best truth seekers. We oftentimes sculpt where we look based on our biases and beliefs, and we fail to dialogue online. This chauvinism often extends offline to social circles, news sources, and college campuses. That's why we have all these hoaxes about Obama, the autism link to vaccination, Ferguson officer Darren Wilson's non-battered face, shoddy legal advice, and numerous Tupac Shakur sightings. But at the moment, we're stuck in this digital buffet because the convenience of sitting with the price tag of free is a huge incentive for us and big dollars for corporations. So we got to get unstuck because the implications are big. Our identities are at stake because that'll determine who hires us, who'll associate us, and we don't need to be defined by our private or most embarrassing moments. And information can be on the web forever. So what do we do about this trade-off of expression and convenience and privacy? Well, first, we got to be better informed. Let's read what we agree to, and let's have the companies make this stuff more readable and transparent. We also have to make timely decisions about these trade-offs. For some, Google scanning our emails is a fair trade-off for them reminding us when we have outstanding bills. For some, cookies from Facebook are a small price to pay for a mobile network of 1.3 billion people. For others, the ad-free ELO network is better. What else do we have to do in closing? We have to update and communicate for government and companies for when creepiness takes root. Things like revenge porn laws make sense, and maybe a do not track list, like the do not phone list. Some decisions are harder. So for instance, total encryption might be fun for us, but remember, Tony Soprano, ISIS, and kidnappers get it too. And maybe we should evaluate what we give and receive by disseminating a little less. Allow yourself the luxury of an unexpressed thought. We also should try to go with our aspirations in communication rather than just impulse. Look, informed choices are important. Identity and information is key. And if we don't make these choices, someone else will. Thank you so much for having me today.